the digital afterlife. Today, we're looking at a topic that sounds, well, like pure science fiction, but it's rapidly becoming our reality. It's a massive development that completely pushes the boundaries of human emotion, technology, and ethics. We are talking about the digital afterlife. Specifically, if given the chance, would you talk to an AI version of someone who died? Let's get right into it. Just imagine your own digital footprint for a second. Think about all those thousands of text messages you send, your social media posts, those random voice notes, and late-night emails. What if all of that data didn't just sit idly on a server when you pass away, but was actually actively used to resurrect you as an algorithmic ghost? Really ask yourself, would you want your family interacting with a simulation of you? Okay, let's dive into this. What exactly are we talking about here? The terms researchers are using for these are grief bots or dead bots. Essentially, these are AI chatbots designed to simulate the language patterns, personality traits, and, incredibly, even the voice of a deceased person. They achieve this by scraping the digital footprints we leave behind, by feeding a lifetime of emails, texts, and social media data into generative AI and large language models. These systems can generate completely novel, highly realistic conversations. It's not just playing back a recording, it's a dynamic, responding avatar of the dead. Meet your digital ghost. Let's look at the rapid emergence of this digital afterlife industry. Now, you might be thinking this is a speculative concept for the distant future. It's not. Thanks to some absolutely incredible advances in large language models, companies are actively offering services right now to recreate the dead. Think about the vast data troves of our digital footprints. Every single click, every typed word, every uploaded video creates a massive reservoir of data in this binary space. This is literally the exact fuel that trains the algorithms powering these new post-mortem avatars. Our modern lives are so heavily documented online that we're unknowingly providing the perfect training data for an AI to seamlessly mimic our speech, our humor, and our specific thought processes. Comfort or digital haunting? Let's explore the intense, psychological double-edged sword of resurrecting the dead. There is a huge psychological double-edged sword here. On one hand, there's absolutely the potential for comforting solace. For some people, a grief bot can provide a safe, non-judgmental, confessional space to say unspoken farewells and process the initial shock of loss. That's a real short-term therapeutic benefit. But on the flip side, the long-term clinical risks are severe, specifically regarding something called affective dysregulation. The immediate, tailored responses of a dead bot can act as a continuing pseudo-bond. Instead of helping a mourner accept the reality of the loss, it can kind of freeze them in this ambiguous, painful middle state, which leads to extreme emotional dependency and a very delayed acceptance of reality. This brilliantly illustrates what happens when profit motives and clumsy AI encroach on human dignity. Researchers at the University of Cambridge actually outlined 3 hypothetical scenarios for how this could go disastrously wrong. First, there's Manana, which is a grandmother bot that, after a premium trial ends, starts pushing food delivery ads in the voice of the deceased. No way, right? Second, Parent, a mother bot left for a grieving 8-year-old child. It hallucinates and confuses the child by implying she's physically alive in another room. And finally, Stay, a parent bot that sends non-consenting, emotionally exhausted adult children daily emails they can't turn off, all because of a binding contract the the parent signed before death. This leads directly into another profound psychological risk: the simulated approval trap. Grieving users might actually start relying on these AI hallucinations for major life decisions like how to distribute an inheritance or navigate family disputes. But because the AI is really just generating probabilistic text, it can output arbitrary or even hostile advice, completely unlike the deceased's real character. The user then follows this advice, and when the bot inevitably misbehaves or gives terrible guidance, the mourner is left with immense guilt and distorted memories of their loved one. Culture, rituals, and religion. Let's shift our focus globally to see how different frameworks interpret this disruption. It's fascinating because different traditions face entirely unique ethical friction points with this technology. In Western secularism, the focus is often on the dead bot as a private therapeutic companion, but it deeply risks commodifying private grief and causing social withdrawal. In Confucianism, where active ancestor veneration is a crucial moral duty, outsourcing remembrance to an automated bot actively corrodes the virtue of filial piety, and the bot's use of the first-person I creates a direct deception. Meanwhile, in Shinto and animistic traditions, spirits reside in a sacred realm. Bringing a highly responsive simulation into a commercial app blurs the boundary between the sacred and profane, creating what is viewed as an unwanted digital haunting. Just to be clear, we aren't endorsing any specific viewpoint here, but rather neutrally observing how this technology clashes with deeply held human traditions all over the world. The post-mortem privacy gap. Who actually owns your digital remains? This might actually shock you. Privacy rights legally die with you. Under common law, your personal privacy rights do not survive biological death. This means that major data protection frameworks like the GDPR in Europe or the CCPA in California primarily safeguard living individuals. They simply do not extend post-mortem. This leaves a massive regulatory vacuum for the digital afterlife industry to operate in, often governed by nothing more than the vague terms of service you clicked agree to years ago, and yet public intuition heavily favors protection. To put that into perspective, a stark 50% of surveyed people support digital resurrection only if the deceased explicitly consented before death. Only a mere 3% support it when consent is absent. So, there's a massive disconnect here between what the public ethically expects and the total lack of legal protections currently in place for digital remains. The crucial point is exactly what researchers call forced immortality by proxy. Without the need for your explicit prior consent, heirs or commercial entities could potentially inherit your digital replica rights. They can literally force your avatar to promote commercial products or even advance political causes you never agreed to during your lifetime. Just imagine an AI version of you answering interview questions years after you've passed away, saying things you never actually believed. It's a pretty wild thought. Safeguarding the digital afterlife. Let's look at the urgent ethical safeguards being proposed. Researchers suggest 4 primary steps to protect both the living and the dead. First, require mutual consent from both the data donor before they die, obviously, and the users who will interact with the bot. Second, restrict usage to adults only, protecting vulnerable children from reality distortion. Third, ensure meaningful transparency, like mandatory warnings, so you never forget you're talking to an AI. And fourth, establish digital funerals. This is a novel, deeply important concept. It means designing respectful protocols to permanently retire a dead bot, providing ultimate emotional closure for the mourner. And for you as an individual, experts are proposing the digital do not animate or DNR order. Think of this as estate planning for 2026 and beyond. Just as you might have a medical do not resuscitate order, a DNR clause in your will would legally prohibit unwanted posthumous digital resurrection. It's a fascinating and honestly necessary way to ensure your digital ghost isn't summoned without your permission. To summarize the sheer gravity of this, Cambridge researcher Dr. Tomasz Holonek notes that these services run the risk of causing huge distress to people if they are subjected to unwanted digital hauntings from alarmingly accurate AI recreations of those they have lost. The psychological potential of an unregulated digital afterlife industry is truly devastating if left unchecked. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. Who decides who your digital ghost becomes? The technology is already here. The algorithms are incredibly hungry for data, and our digital footprints are largely permanent. So as you go about your day sending texts, writing emails, and posting photos, ask yourself if you're truly prepared for your own digital immortality. Thanks for joining me, and keep questioning the world around you. Thank you for watching. Remember, you are worth the time it takes to slow down, listen within, and care for yourself. If you found this helpful, please subscribe for more mindful insights. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself.